you know, they'll push all the machinery to make it distort and to make it sound this grungy sound, and so I suppose that is using it in the wrong way, because it's like digital and it's supposed to be exact and pure and this, that and the other, and that's why digits were invented, I suppose, to make it more exact, and they're sort of misusing it, I guess, to make this effect. Dillinja, probably my toughest client, because when he comes in, it's like literally I have to cut something 3 times because you're pushing the lathe so much, something always goes wrong over, and it's literally like I'm sitting there thinking the lathe's going to blow up, and then you're talking like between around £10,000 to get it fixed. I mean, the head blows, and Dillinja just pushes and pushes and pushes. He's like one of the most level conscious drum and bass artists, and it's all very distorted and in your face, and it's tough to cut, but it's worth it. You know, everyone comes in and says to me, you know, when the Dillinja track comes on, you really know about it. It sort of slaps you in the face.
At the end of the day, you've got to make music that the DJ wants to play. So I think that is the most important thing, that you've got tunes that are accessible to a dance floor and that have got life and have got an atmosphere, and that are tunes that people want to hear, really.
Lemon D and Dillinja, you know what I mean, they're wicked producers. Now as they've got a bit older, now they're going to start to DJ, you'll see a different type of vibes.
Over the last, say, 3 or 4 years, I haven't seen any DJ come into a division, I call it the Premier League, right? In the Premier League, you're Grooverider, Fabio, Doc Scott, Randall, Andy C, DJ Hype, and all the well-known names, yeah? The last 4 years, I haven't seen nobody break into them. It's like it's closed off kind of thing. The last guy that did get into there was Andy C. And he got in there via his tune, Long Dark Tunnel, blew up, massive.
A long time ago, they termed everyone wants to be a DJ, everyone wants to be an MC. There was even, you know, tracks coming out with those lyrics in them. And that is the case today, you know. A lot of people have got an interest in it, and they feel that they want to express that through either MCing or DJing.
Just listen, being versatile is my aim on my mission. In the drum and bass scene, you got to be original. I'm watching my sounds of playing with different methods. You better run for cover when I'm blasting through the speakers.
The thing with DJing is just knowing the crowd. I mean, it might take you 20 minutes to get your feet with the crowd. You drop a few different styles, see what they're bouncing off more, and then you can head more in that direction.
It's got to be a must, rough and rugged, no confusion. It's got to be a must, rough and rugged.
You got your records, you hunt for your tunes, you know, and then you put them together. You go out and you play it, you put the tunes together, and if that's the sound you like, that's what you will play. And if the crowd happens to like that, and you know, then it's all good for them at the end of the day. But the way I look at it, it's nice to put 2 fat tunes together. You know, if you can put 2 fat tunes together and create a really fat mix, you know, you really make a big impression on the crowd. You definitely will.
It's about playing music to me. I don't care who's in the audience. To get what I'm saying, it's just the fact that there's an audience is enough for me. It doesn't matter who it is. To get what I'm saying. So from there, I try to do the best that I can to make them kind of move. You know, and it's a buzz for me to do that. So I'm not looking at the faces, I'm looking at the feet. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those situations, so that's how it works.
It's like football, it's like tennis. Some days you have a good day and some days you have a bad day, but I think a good DJ is someone who can be consistent, and no matter what they're going through or what turmoil's in their head at that time, they can switch off and just concentrate on the crowd and entertain them.
When you go in the rave and you see how it is, you just feel from there really, rather than say, I'm going to play that, I'm going to play that.
When I was younger and DJing in my bedroom, I always imagined being in like the scenario of a club atmosphere where you've got the crowd out there, and whatever you play, you can take them on whatever like journey they need to go on. And it's an unbelievable feeling when you catch the right vibe and everything's clicking, and it's like autopilot. You don't need to think about it. You look in your box and it's like that record, this mix, that, you know, it all clicks together.
What is it all about? It's all about the drums and the bass. It's all about the platinum breaks. Listen to the drum and bass sound we demonstrate.
It's kind of a subconscious thing. You don't consciously know what you're going to play or where you're going to play it, but you just feel the vibe and you try not to make like really conscious changes, you know what I mean? Try and keep it flowing on the same vibe.
Some things are planned, but you know, 50-50, man. Sometimes something comes into your head and you just, say on the mic. It's from the crowd and from the DJ spinning, and I mean, you pick up some certain things and you just, It all just depends, like the mood you're in and what's going on, and it depends. It's a lot of feeling. That's what it's all about, just a feeling.
That's what the DJ's all about. It's about working with the crowd. You feel what they want and you go with them.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think in any like style of music, if you get a set of DJs, they're gonna have friendly competition. If they don't, the music's gonna die. There has to be friendly competition to take the public every week to that cutting edge. You know, because they have to be at that cutting edge within themselves. You know what I mean? Because if Groove slips for a week, someone's gonna cut him. You know what I mean? If Scotty slips for a week, someone's gonna cut him. So they all got to be on point.
It's the bumping sound, of course, to break that body down. Metalheadz, massive, are you ready for this? Headz simply breakbeat specialist. So send it, start taking over, so check it.
As soon as you drop a tune in and if the crowd starts going mad, then you know that, that's a good tune. And then if you bring in another good tune, you're mixing the two together, and then the whole crowd's going to be, going berserk. And well, it's just, that's an experience on its own, really, I suppose.
Marl, local Marl, man. Marl's cool. Marl's DJing the Headz, you know what I mean? He'll DJ that, and you listen to Marley and you can hear Randall as well, because Randall's called him out. Which is no different than Source Direct's Photek, do you know what I mean? Marl's very much like that, because he gives me two jokes, have a laugh. Marl's very much like that. And Bailey, man, Bailey's like the heavyweight boots. He's coming with the heavyweight boots, man.
I just like to mix. I don't necessarily, every now and then, it depends what mood I'm in. Sometimes I might chop a tune in and out here and there, but it's never going to sound out of place. I try not to make it sound that way anyway.
To be a DJ, really, you have to have a love of music, so the two things go hand in hand. For me personally, anyway. But I would never stop DJing. You know.
What I like to see DJing now, I like to see a whole spectrum of the music being played, especially like on a night. You have your different styles of DJs on the same lineup in the same room.
Strictly for the Headz inside. We bring to you the music. We got the music. Metalheadz music. We bring to you strictly for the Headz inside. We got the music. Don't resist it. Don't fight it. Let yourself go. It's all about the beats that in time. For the break beats to blow your mind.
I'm not a strictly breakbeat or strictly, one type of music. I try and join different musical fields into one, interesting, enjoyable, dynamic selection. And I try and basically do this sort of thing so that it isn't an eclectic mess, because I really don't like that word. And I don't really like sort of the idea of going to a club and hearing some guy playing all kinds of weird shit from different areas. I like to hear someone who can really create a story.
The main objective of any DJ is to make someone dance.
We're coming down to bring the bass, mid-range and treble. We're coming down to keep it hard like metal. Smash the speakers, now rock your heads. Got to keep it rocking to the sound. Metalheadz.
Bad boys win. Keep eating big breakfasts and get ready for it. Because when I implode, when we hit the corner, Very, very hot. Very hot, very bumpy. Not too good for the big guys, but we're managing. We're third place. We've already done some tactics, so she doesn't know, man. Sorry, yeah? Put the scoreboard right back there, yeah? Right. Look.
Get your own team talk, mate. Own team talk. Get your own team talk. Fucking cunt.
Whenever I'm ready.
It's all about the fucking Headz, mate. It's all about the fucking Headz. Finished.
Breaking it. We're taking it. The Metalheadz #1.
Good fucked up, yeah, good fucked up. Nicely.
Where is it?
Go on, Jamie! Come on, Jay! Go on, Jamie!
Breaking it. Much damage. Yes, we're taking it. Metalheadz. Who's #1?
Seconds. In just a few moments, we're bringing the winning team stars out for a lap of honour.
Oh well.
Lemon D's will always be like the son of Carl, he's the son of Dillinja, because he's more of like a funky Dillinja in a sense, because he has a lighter side to him, but he's very Carl orientated in terms of the way he programs.
2 years ago, sort of this sort of dark thing was coming because a lot of people were like, oh yeah, let's get nasty, which is cool. And a lot of people sort of started to define, yeah, well, I can get nastier than you, and do you know what I mean? Which was good, but I think it's got a bit sort of stale at the moment for me personally, where it's like, okay, well, show what the music's about, because it's not to stick to one sort of sound. Have to leave there. But I'll say it's when I bring it back, it's like, personally I like it slower because you can get a lot more in, whereas now it's more faster but it's more minimalistic because you can't fit music within that boundary. They've taken it to the limit where you can put, you know, sounds at 175 but you can't put music to 175. So that's where I stuck at this sort of thing now, and I think they're going to find, well, if we go back a few BPMs or we just stick to what we're doing, and another sort of set of producers break away and do stuff a little bit slower. I think that personally, it's like, you know, as long as people start realising that you can't go too fast with the music and take it back down a bit and put music within the boundaries, then it might start changing. But at the moment, it's got to that point where they've realised we're getting faster. It's all good because, like, you know, it's keeping the crowd up, but the music does become a bit too minimalistic.
I remember a track quite a few years ago, and it was made at what the guy who made it obviously thought is ridiculously fast, and it's called something like "This Track's Too Fast," and do you know what I mean? It was obviously done as a bit of a joke, like no one's ever going to make a record this fast, and like now obviously it's exactly what people do all the time.
If you can go back to the first tune and, like, you know, in drum and bass like 4 or 5 years ago, it's the drum and bass guys that were producing, like, filtering and stuff like that, and now you can hear it in all the tunes. Now you can hear it in different music, house and whatever, and I think as long as the equipment keeps progressing, I think the drum and bass thing will progress. But there's like, I mean, I've got like about 30 different versions, so I'll keep drawing them in, so it all sounds organic instead of like a loop. Do you know what I mean? Totally. I just use it as a template for now. Yeah. Once I get them all in, and I'll just change them around with different ones.
Nowadays, it's progressed so much where you do need like the equipment and the technology. But back then, you just needed a simple setup, like for $1,000 or something.
It's simple. It's just basically a sampler. Yeah, you go into. I'll show you my sampler. Basically, it's like you go. It's the same process. It's just you've got this hands-on. Instead of like sitting there and doing it there. It's like you just tweak it there.
The technology involved in music making now gives you so much freedom. It gives you too much freedom, actually. It's easy once you know how. You know, if you can know to use the equipment and everything, then you can find it. Do you understand? If you're someone that just wants to get that sound straight away, you don't know what to do, you're going to go and buy equipment, you're lost. I'm able to record my horns just into the hard disk, and then they come up on the screen. I can move them around, I can take bits out. You can never do that on a 24 track.
So it's just like a tone. I could go to a tone, yeah, but these are all the same tones, really. It's just that someone's pre-programmed them and made shit out of it, you know. Change the waveform. Sometimes sometimes it can eat you up if you haven't got a social life. You've got to break away from it, and you've got to do other things apart from being in the studio, because it can like crank you up.
We've made friends with our machines. That's kind of what we've had to do, you know what I mean? Because we haven't seen anybody. It's like, yeah,